गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Pancadasi, chapter 12 and verse number 24. We just started on the topic, and the topic is what are the different what is the different types of loves that we have? And here it was told, I think we are on the so in the 23rd verse it was told, Sukha sadhana topa dhehe annapanadaya priyaha. It was told, if one argues that food, drinks, etc. are dear to us as the means of happiness and not for their own sake, then is this the nature of love for the self? So we had been given many different examples that a husband loves his wife for his sake, not for the sake of the wife. The wife loves the husband for her sake, not for the sake of the husband. A person loves his country for his sake, not for the sake of the country. A person eats food not for the sake of the food, but for the sake of one's own sake. A person desires for heaven not for the sake of heaven, but for one's own sake. The people have Ishta Devtas, they want to go to different realms, have different experiences, etc. Everything that every human being does in this world is for his own sake. This was the statement that was made. And why this was told that the love is not for in the objects or in the imaginations. The love is your nature, and that love is superimposed on the other things. So you are actually searching the joy, the happiness, the love in that object. But actually when you gain that object, even if it is an imaginary satisfaction, the joy, the happiness which was your essential nature, that comes forth. That was told in the 11th chapter, how the whole analysis was given. So here the student is asking, okay, so here we have told that so just like a person, so now I have gone one step further ahead. So the student is saying, just like everything is for one's own sake and everyone loves these various things for their own sake, do we love ourselves for our own sake? Is the love for the self also falling in the category of how we love the various objects and experiences? This is the question. Is the quality of the love for the self equivalent to the love for the wife, the husband, the children, the parents, the heaven, the food, the experiences, etc., etc., etc.? Scriptures, Vedas, teachers, is it the same? So now to answer these questions, so the teacher says, the teacher is telling, Sukha sadhana topadhehe annapanadaya priyaha, and the teacher says, it when this type of question is asked, that is the love for the self similar to the love for the objects, this, what is the premise with which the student is asking this question? What is the premise? He is thinking that just like I experience the heaven, I experience the parents, I experience the children, I experience the husband or wife, I experience the countries, I experience the food, will I also experience the self? This is the premise. So what is he doing? The student, he is objectifying the truth. You can objectify the father, the mother, the daughter, the sister, the heaven, etc., etc., the gods, but can you objectify the subject itself? Can you objectify the who you are, essentially? Can you objectify the spirit? Now, this is the question of the student. So here the teacher has to address in such a manner that he stops, he is weaned away from objectifying. And this is the reason why the scriptures, they keep presenting us contradictory statements quite a few times. So here, in the previous shloka, the teacher clearly said that Atma is Sadbhava, ever present. What is ever present in one's own essential being? All those things which are other than the I cannot be I. The fallacy in this doubt is therefore that the Atma has been made a component of the subject-object relationship. Remember, every time a triad is created in your mind, a thought can appear only if there is a triad. What is the, just like this tripod. What are the three components? I should be there, the subject. Object should be there, the that, and the instrument of knowledge, isn't it? So seer, seen, seeing, hearer, heard, hearing, speaker, spoken to, and speaking. See? Experiencer, experienced, experiencing. Only then a thought can come about. And what is the thought about? Always? Always something other than the I. Always something other than the subject. Correct? Now the student is trying to make the subject into an object. He wants to experience the I as an object which he can apprehend, an object he can experience. See? In the previous chapter, the same thing was told, but through the analysis of bliss. Now it is being told through the I, Atmananda. But which I? Is it the ego I? Is it the individual I? Is it the witness I? See? And this is our problem. We are so addicted to objectifying everything that we do not stop. When we are sitting in meditation, there also we want to objectify the self, or we want to see the self as a beautiful experience, an ecstasy, a loving thrill, a feeling of acceptance. We want to be in some gaga, beautiful land, imaginary heaven, where, oh, some people like to see that self as light. They see a bright sun. Many people see that. They think that is the self. It is all these things happen, no doubt. If you start doing meditation, these things will come. But it is not the self. There are different checkposts. Those who are practicing the step-by-step meditation, step-by-step realization. Kriya Yoga falls into that, Kundalini falls into that, Japa Sadhana falls into that. Step by step. Lay Prakriya falls into that. Huh? So there, when you are going step by step, it is necessary. Then those experiences come, all the different things. But here in Vedanta, we are straight away going to that, to ourselves. So now, because we are looking forward, I have given this exercise many times. Now make the eyes see themselves. When we try that, the world vanishes, isn't it? But can the physical eye see itself? Not possible. Similarly, can the I that I am, without which a thought cannot come into the existence, can this I see itself? Can this I objectify itself? Can this I experience itself? Is it possible? This is the problem which the student is facing. He wants to experience it. Continuing in the 24th verse.
Swamiji, what about ego I, knowing that self is of bliss and happiness, searching for that?
Yeah, it is still the I.
Yeah.
Because what is ego I? That imaginary entity which has accepted the continuity to be true. That imaginary entity which has accepted the continuity of existence as the objective world to be true. So it believes yesterday has extended into today, today will continue into tomorrow, and I will be there. Yes, that is the nature of the self. It will continue to be. But it superimposes that on the various objects, and that, see, but at the same time, we had told you before, only one thought at a time can come in the mind, isn't it? Only one thought at a time. But it believes that all thoughts are his. That is the ego. It does not exist, yet it seems to be there. A mirage does not exist, but it still seems to be there. A sunrise and sunset doesn't exist, yet it seems to be there. A rainbow does not exist, yet it seems to be there. Fatherhood, brotherhood, sisterhood, motherhood, all these are not there, but they seem to exist. They are only a mental idea. Who exists is a woman in that example, isn't it? So where is the mother? So woman is the mother. Where is the sister? Woman is the sister. Where is the wife? The woman is the wife. So where are these three then? They are imaginations. Who gives the problem? Is woman a problem to herself? No. Then who experiences all the problems? The wife experiences, the mother on account of children experiences, the sister can have issues or love for her siblings, etc., etc., isn't it? So these pseudo personalities, these imaginary personalities which are useful, which are functionally useful, they are the source of problems. And they have come about because you have created a relationship. The I has created a relationship with the object. So I created a relationship. What is that relationship? Teacher-student. So if I'm attached to the student, then the teacher, who am I essentially? Man. In this example, okay? Essentially, we are as a self. But in this example, man. But this man is thinking that he is the teacher. Why is thinking he is the teacher? Because he loves the student. So the teacher-student relationship keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And then who becomes miserable? If a student doesn't understand, if a student doesn't perform, if a student doesn't answer, who becomes miserable? Teacher, not the person. See? So that cap which I am wearing of a teacher, that is the source of problem. So we have to live in this world, no doubt, but one must not be attached to anything. How is that possible? If you keep thinking, I'm not attached, I'm not, then how will I live? No. You continue living, but live in awareness. Live in awareness. Not awareness of the world, awareness of the self. For being aware of yourself, of your presence, you don't need to think. You are there in spite of thinking. You are present in spite of thinking. Anyway, Atmanukulyad annadi, Atmanukulyad annadi, Samaschedamanu, Samasched amunatrakah, Samasched amunatrakah, Anukulayitavyasyaat, Anukulayitavyasyaat, Naikasmin karma kartruta, Naikasmin karma kartruta. So the Atma is also dear to us, being as the means of happiness, like that of food, etc. If this is argued, the answer is, in this world, by this Atma who is considered as the means of happiness, who is to be pleased? That is none, because in the one and the same Atma, the subjectiveness of doership and the objectiveness of means of happiness cannot exist simultaneously. What is the nature of Atma? What is the nature of Atma? Sat Chit Ananda Swarup. It is of the nature of love, it is of the nature of bliss. The subject itself is of the nature of bliss. Can in you the woman exist other than the wife? Can a woman exist other than the wife? No, cannot. Woman is the wife is the woman.
You mean the base?
The base.
Yeah.
Can you separate them?
No.
Can the wife say, oh, I want to see the woman, I want to see the woman? You can't. If you want to see a wife separate to yourself, you cannot see it. You will only imagine that this is, you're objectifying yourself in your mind. You'll, I have to imagine that I am a son, I am a teacher, I am a friend. And these are just imaginations in my head. But can I separate those roles from myself? Can I experience them like I am experiencing you? Can I? The I, the person that I am, the I, and I, the teacher, or I, the son, can this I, the person, experience I, the teacher? Cannot. Because it's only one I, isn't it? It's not possible. And that is what is being told here. That Atma anukulyat annadi samah chet. If the understanding is that Atma is like the food that is conducive in our liking and is the means of happiness, it is not so. Every food is not liked by everyone. Here they are taking a different tangent. Let's go according to that. If food was the means of happiness, here they are still at the basic stage. If you think that the food is the source of happiness, then the food must give happiness to every person on this in this creation. But it is seen. Why go away anywhere? Even in one house, one dish, one type of food does not give happiness to all the people in the family, isn't it? Even if you say that they like it, after some time, majority of them will start saying, don't bring it near me anymore for 1 month, isn't it? Why? How come that which you in the beginning you loved so much, afterwards you start disliking it? You are not in love with it, you are not happy with it. There must be some reason. Maybe the joy that you attributed to be in that food, it is not in the food, that's why it has gone away. Huh? So that is what they are saying. We enjoy what we like and reject what is not liked. And if Atma is understood to be like food, then one has to find out that Atma which is conducive to one. Can you find out? And if Atma is understood to be like food, then one has to find out that Atma which is conducive to one. Meaning, if it is the source of enjoyment, if this Atma is an objective source of enjoyment, then find out this Atma. Then find out this Atma. What will happen when you start searching for Atma? It is like the eyes searching for looking at themselves. The eye searching, the physical eye wanting to look at the physical eye, its own itself. Searching for Atma on the seat of contemplation in a satsang is this individual eye seeking for itself. And in that process, the mind vanishes. The mind becomes neutralized. Just like when you try to bring your physical vision to your eyes, the whole world gets neutralized. Similarly, same thing happens inside, within the mind also.
Swamiji, the individual eye search for the self for a reason.
Individual I search for the self.
For a reason, you know.
Yeah.
When there's a reason, why can't the reason be, search of because of happiness?
It is for the happiness only.
Um,
But here they are not talking about that. Here they are talking about that the search for the I. First they brought to your attention that that you think that because of your habit of objectifying everything in the world, you superimpose the love and joy and happiness on the objects of the world or people of the world, and then and yes, that is true for everyone, but is it true? So they are asking you to inquire that if you love something so dearly, then why you are ready to give it up? If you love your sleep so dearly, then why do you give up sleep and wake up? If you love the waking world so dearly, and your children and your wife, then why do you give them up and go to sleep? This is what they are asking. So which means that love was not in those objects. It must be somewhere else. Where is it? Oh, it's in the eye. Asha, now which eye? We don't know. I only know one eye. Which eye? I know. This eye that I am. Isn't it? Don't give it any name. It's just the individual I, that's it. So now, this is one way of coming back to the I. From chapter 1 we have started, every chapter was bringing you back to the self. Now this is another methodology, a technique by which you come back to yourself. So if you want permanent happiness, objects cannot give you permanent joy and happiness. So the teacher is saying it's in the self. And he says that, oh, if it is in the self, then can I experience it? Teacher says, I cannot be objectified. But if you want to, okay, search for the self. The moment he starts searching for the self, the search will conclude, disappear. He will disappear. The searcher will disappear. Searcher will disappear. Because the searcher and the searched is one only. I searching for I. How can there be two eyes? How can anyone say that I don't like my Atma or I like your Atma? How can anyone, have you never come across anyone? Someone saying, I don't like myself, I like yourself. You may not like the body, you may not like your hairstyle, you may not like some of your habits, but nobody says I don't that I don't like the person who I am. Everyone is in love with the self. But when? But this is a disease in the society, in the human beings. And that is when they superimpose this love that they have for themselves on the objects of the world. And the worst case scenario, the reason they want to escape from life through suicide, through drugs, through alcohol, is because they, they, they have not accepted that they are the source of the joy and happiness. And as long as they keep attributing joy and happiness to the people of the world, objects of the world, and they will keep changing, they will keep getting more and more caught up in the artificial ways of gaining, forgetting all these things, artificial things. What do? They only make us forget, that's all. They make the mind numb. And what happens when the mind becomes numb? The memory goes. The moment memory goes, the joy starts welling up. That's that's the way everything is functioning. So here we are being brought face to face with ourselves. Essentially. The teacher is saying, okay, if you want to search, just like you search for love and joy in the objects, you'll search for the love, the happiness in the I. Find out where this I is. It will conclude in everything. Everyone loves themselves for their own sake. Who else is to be pleased by this Atma? Everyone loves themselves for their own sake, not for anyone else. Everyone is, or if you say, do this, don't do this, this is not the right way, that is not the right way, I think you should do this. No, no, my way is the best way. I know what I am doing, don't tell me. This is how the world is. Ekasmin karma kartruta na. In addition, if Atma is taken to be a means of joy, then the duality of doer and done, the enjoyer and the enjoyed results. In this way, like food, etc., Atma will become an object of joy and the enjoyer will be I. This is fallacious. In some religions, this is considered as blasphemy. How can there be two eyes? One the searcher, contemplator, seeker eye, and one the contemplated eye. How can there be two eyes? Oh, but you said the individual eye, the ego eye, and the witness eye. That we are just telling you so that you understand. How can there be three eyes? You alone are expressing as those three every now and then. Just like you alone are expressing as the mother, daughter, brother, etc., etc., at any given moment. Similarly, sometimes we are the waker, sometimes we are the dreamer, sometimes we are the sleeper. All the three cannot express at the same time. But all the three cannot express without the I being there, isn't it? Think about it. Thus, 2 points are made. One, Atma cannot be the source of happiness like food, as anukulyata and pratikulyata do not apply to Atma. That means, anukulyata, pratikulyata, I like this food, I don't like this food. Nobody says I like the Atma and sometimes I don't like the Atma. I like the self and sometimes I don't like the self. We don't see that in people. Everyone loves themselves. Everyone does everything in life only for their own sake. there is second, there is no division between possible in Atma as the enjoyer and the enjoyed. There is no division possible as the enjoyer and the enjoyed. So enjoyed is what? The self, because the joy, enjoy means the bliss.
Enjoy it is
That is coming not from outside, it is coming from within. And who's the enjoyer? Also the same I. So this imaginary division between the two has to be neutralized, has to be removed. And this is not a thinking process to remove it. Just like you cannot go think and go to sleep. You cannot think and sleep. Either you are thinking or you are sleeping. But can you go to sleep without thinking about sleep initially? Yes and no. Sometimes it comes with a great force and sometimes, but when it comes, the thought comes, I am feeling sleepy, I am tired, I am exhausted, it's time to check out, I need a power nap, etc., etc., etc. You can feel the advent, isn't it? But as long as you are there, sleep is not there. But when it comes, you are not there. Exactly the same way, because of our habit of objectifying, here the teacher is saying, you start thinking, find out. But understand that the enjoyer and enjoyed are not two, they are one and the same. Just like in the deep sleep, the deep sleeper is unmanifest and the mind is also unmanifest. There is no experience. Similarly, in this I wanting to experience itself, there is no experience possible. Therefore, it is called experienceless experience. It is called experienceless experience. The misconception that Atma is an enjoyer, Bhokta, is denied in the next shloka. Sukhe Vaishayike Pritim. Sukhe Vaishayike Pritim. Priti, sorry. Sukhe Vaishayike Priti. Sukhe Vaishayike Priti. Matramatma Tvati Priyaha. मात्रमात्मा त्वति प्रियः सुखे व्यभिचरत्येषा सुखे व्यभिचरत्येषा नात्मनि व्यभिचारिणी नात्मनि व्यभिचारिणी. Love for the means of joy is not supreme. Love for the means of joy is not supreme. However, love for the self is supreme. However, love for the self is supreme because while the former is subject to change, love for the self is not subject to change. It is ever the same. You may have love for a certain situation, a certain experience, a certain suppose even this satsang, you love this satsang, but it is not every moment of your existence. You come every Thursday, you come for the satsang, it goes away afterwards, isn't it? You come to the retreat, then you go away. So it is not continuous. But do you ever go away from yourself anytime? You forget what was told in the satsang, which made such a huge impact. You were so much of clarity was there, so much understanding was there. You were just with it. But after the satsang is over, and 1 day, 2 days, sometimes the moment we go out, and what did Swamiji say? What did the Pancadasi say? And we can't even recollect it, isn't it? We can't even recollect it. The dream that was giving us so much joy, we can't remember the dream after we wake up. The food that gave us so much joy, the experiences that gave us so much joy 2-3 days ago, we laughed. What was it? Because of? I don't know, I can't remember. But I remember I had a good time. So you sometimes can remember, sometimes you forget. And the joy from the various things in the world, time, space, and objects and beings, they come and go. They are not permanently there. But this love for the self never comes and goes. Why? Because love is the nature of the self. This bliss is the nature of the self. And how do you know it is the nature of the self? Have you ever stopped loving yourself? You wake up for yourself, you dream for yourself, you go to deep sleep for yourself, you work for yourself. Everything that you do in the world is for your own sake, isn't it? That is how they brought your mind to this point now.
Swamiji, the love for the self, can that vary with different individual? Because if someone is closer to realization, they will love more. No?
You're still objectifying it. You may have love for the Baba, you may have love for Ammachi, you may have love for Mahatmas. One day they are going to go away. Then what are you going to do?
No, the love for the self, that the love for myself.
How can it become less or more? Because
No, between different persons. Like the love for the self that what I have, and love for the self what you have. Can that vary?
no.
Depending on your sadhana, depending
If
on your
your
status.
understanding of the self is the essence, the Atma, then Atma is only one, it is not one per person.
Yes, true, yeah.
So you are saying, in other words, you are saying that the salt in one wave called the love is it less or more than the other wave? See?
Yes.
Is the gold in one ornament less or more than the other ornament? Is it?
No.
There you go. That's your answer. So, love for the self. Everyone loves themselves the most. They may not know it.
They may not know it.
They may not know it. That's why they superimpose it on others.
Yes.
That's why they justify other things. That's why they misconceive various things. That's why wars are fought. That's why charity is done. That's why the scriptures are studied. But that is not the self. That's why heaven is sought. That's why marriages happen and divorces happen. But that is not the love for the self. Why only stop there? For that the waker comes up. For that the dreamer comes up. For that the deep sleep experience also comes. But that is also not the love that we are seeking. We are looking for the one which is permanent, which is continuous. It is without a break, which is without a thought, which is without an experience. Because if you are thinking of an experience, like many people in devotion or in Kundalini, they get into ecstasy. They think, oh, I think I'm coming closer to the self. More ecstasy, more intensity of ecstasy, more. All this is humbug. It is humbug. It is objectification of who you are. They want to experience themselves objectively and they don't realize, but that same self, because the mind has become calmed or through force, they are getting there and it appears as ecstasy.
Is that Vishayananda, isn't it?
Vishayananda.
Isn't it?
It is
I
Vishayananda.
experience happiness in meditation, that I realize now it is a mind with less thought, experience
The Ananda,
Ananda.
which the first chapter
That's
you
right.
read.
Yes,
Huh.
that's right. Yes.
Yes. It is not Vishayananda,
Okay.
but it is the Ananda cannot be in the Vishaya.
That's right. That's a, yeah.
Ananda is your source. But we think that meditation is giving me joy. So now we have attributed that joy, which is our nature, to the meditation. Now we have attributed that joy that we are experiencing without anything to be the result of zero thoughts in the mind. Isn't it?
Yeah. It is a zero thought in the mind, is only allow the Brahmananda to
Express. Initially, if you find it difficult to be who you are, to means to accept that I am independent of everything, then it is good. Bring it down. Bring it to a zero. Think even this thought, when I contemplates on I, it will come to zero. So what will happen? Zero. It will be like deep sleep, but you are awake. You should not go to sleep though.
That's right. Yeah.
So what has happened? Mind has become zero, and the bliss, which is the nature of the self, it expresses plentifully. Now that time this feeling should not come. Ooh, I think I'm just there. It was so wonderful.
That's really, yes.
Then it's gone. Remain silent. If the mind is experiencing that ecstasy, because ecstasy will be experienced in the mind.
That's right. Yeah.
You are other than the mind. So mind is attached to some idea. And as it is becoming less and less and less, what you call, less means as the thought fluctuation in the mind is reducing, directly proportional to that, the bliss is increasing. Why? Atma cannot exist by itself. Atma needs a medium where it is the phenomena. The Atma, the self, reflects in the waters of the consciousness. So when it reflects in the waters of the mind, there two things are created. One is called I thought, the other is called that thought. See? In the mind.
Yeah.
I thought and that thought. Then that mind is, we give it two names. Where the I thought comes, that is called the intellect. Where the that thought comes, that is called the mind. The mind keeps changing, the I remains the same. But there is an imagination that this I is changing, or is attached, or it is involved, or it is identified. But it is not possible. Watch yourself. Watch your one day experience, you will come to that conclusion.
The self is the experienceless experience, isn't it what we just... So then the other hand that we are saying that it is bliss, it is full happiness, then how can...
Of the nature.
But then someone must have experienced that instance.
Because we experience it, no? In deep sleep, don't we experience it?
Yes.
The bliss we experience in the deep sleep. Don't you love yourself? Do you want your hand to be cut? Do you want your head to be cut off from the body? You will not. Why? I love it. But if it was unavoidable, if someone had gangrene, yes, please cut it off. Why? At least the rest of the body, rest of me will be fine.
Yeah.
What about second leg with gangrene? Cut that off also. At least I will be safe. What about hands? Cut them off also. It will be okay. Then artificial heart, artificial kidneys, artificial stomach. It's okay, no problem. I love myself. Because I am more than the parts put together. And that's why I am allowing them to be cut, but I have not vanished. So when on the seat of meditation, body identification goes, I continue to exist. Breathing stops, I continue to exist. Mind stops, I continue to exist, which is called samadhi. stopping of the mind, stopping of the breath, or stopping non-awareness of the body is that of the body. That is body disidentification. Right now, is there any thought of what is behind you? No. You are disidentified with it. It has got no value to you right now. Right now, your value is only to what I am saying. If your attention while listening and looking at me, it shifts to the camera, then for that one moment, camera became your focus of attention. Your attention was diverted, isn't it? When you are working on computer or on your whatever project you are doing, suddenly sometimes our attention goes away and we lose the train of thoughts, isn't it? Why did that happen? Because we got distracted.
Yeah.
See?
So I got a strange dreams few weeks ago. I'm searching, trying to find out in a dream who am I. I mean, not that selfish one, but whether I'm Devan or married or this one, I can't. That it remained for a few minutes. Couldn't identify why.
What happens is, as your sadhana intensifies in the waking plane,
Yeah.
it will continue in the dream also. It will continue in the dream also. Because as the mind starts settling down, then slow. Because what is the difference between waking and dream?
Uh,
What is the yes? There are we have seen many, but if you look at it from one angle, the dream is a dream, and the waking is a waking dream,
that's right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So from the dream point of view, both planes are one only. So your sadhana in the waking plane is continuing there as your mind quietens down. People in dream, the contemplation is still going on because it has caught your imagination. You will see many people, even in the sleep, they will be chanting the Lord's name. The sadhana is going on because whole day they are chanting. When they go to sleep, still going on. We just love the objective enjoyment. If Atma is taken to be an object of enjoyment, our love would not be supreme. Atma tu ati priyaha. However, the love for Atma is of the highest order, as can be seen from the fact that one is willing to give up many objects of enjoyments for the sake of oneself. We are not ready to give up the self for the sake of objects, but we are ready to give up the objects for the sake of the self. We are ready to give up one wife and get another wife. We are ready to give up one country and get another country. We are ready to give up one job and get another job. We are ready to give up one movie theater to go to the next movie theater. We are ready to give up one food to get another food, isn't it? Because no food will attract your attention for a long period of time. And that is the rule of the phenomena. That is how it is expressing. So everything that everything that they are experiencing is for their own sake and not for the objects. Because there is one simple rule, and the simple rule is, if you think that, if I think that I love this camera a lot, why? It continuously reflects me, Then I must eat, drink, sleep, meditate, and with the camera. I should not leave it for 1 second moment. I should not think of anything else but the camera. Why? It's continuously reflecting me. It doesn't demand anything from me. Agree or not? But does that happen? So find out what is that which has never left you.
Mobile phones are missing.
That also goes away.
It's becoming so bad nowadays. Everywhere.
But your attention to it goes only when it beeps. Ding, and immediately.
You should see the train.
I know.
Not hardly anyone without.
Without it.
Same thing happens with the mind also. Ping, ping, ping. Thoughts keep coming up. And you want to keep, where did this come from? What is this about? I had never thought about this one. Okay, what an amazing idea the mind has present. Ping. You see, again it has come. So it is not the love for the objects, it is the love is for the self, and that is what is told here. Why it is love for the self? Because we are ready to give up the objects at a drop of a hat. And if you are ready to give up the objects at a drop of a hat, people at the drop of a hat, objects, etc., which shows that you did not love them. Come to this understanding. Come to this understanding that we'll interact with the world not for the sake of the world but for our own sake. The liking, preeti for objects keeps changing and is far inferior to the love for oneself, because this love with reference to the Vishaya Sukham is not constant and depends on many factors like the availability of the object, one's own health, mood, etc. It is therefore only a relative love, but love for one's own essential being never declines. Continuing with the example of this camera, it is very dear to me, it reflects me, yet 2 days ago it did not function. It's showing my picture, but it is not recording it. Why? God knows. Cut, opened everything, nothing. Leave it. Continue the lecture, satsang. See? You take a coffee, or you take a sweet, or you like a chapati very much, for example, or you like a pizza very much. But when you like it very much, when you are really hungry, but you get up in the morning, Swamiji, I think you love the pizza very much. You don't brush your teeth. First, eat the pizza. You love it very much. No. I can't eat a pizza with the taste in my saliva from the whole night and all that. No, I need to brush my fresh mouth. Then I'll. So I was ready. If I loved the pizza so much, then I should have immediately pounced on it. But it doesn't happen. So what makes our love towards a particular object? That love, that attachment, the feeling of love for a particular thing or being is based upon its availability, it's based upon the time, it's based upon the situation, circumstances, etc. There are many factors which go into it. See? Every day I wear the same clothes, similar type. Swamiji, you didn't iron today? Okay, here. What is that? Oh, in the laundry basket yesterday you ironed, that cloth is there. You can wear this. Will I wear that? It's cloth. Yesterday I wore it with so much love, and today, yeah, don't bring it close to me. Why? The value has diminished. It's not fresh. So the reason was many factors determine your uh, uh, the Vishaya Sukham, the joy, the happiness that you're getting from the objects of the world are dependent on many factors, and therefore it cannot be the real happiness. The thought continues. Ekam tyaktva ekam tyaktva sukham vaishayikam sada natma tyajyo na chadeyah natma tyajyo na chadeyah tasmin vyabhicharet katham. By giving up one's objective happiness, one goes to another object. Therefore, there is a constant change in the objective happiness. The self neither can be rejected nor can be attained. Hence, in such a self, how can love ever change? It is our experience. Right now I am speaking to you, then I speak to her, then I speak to him. In the morning I eat something else, in the afternoon I eat something else, in the evening I eat something else. Oh, I loved one movie. Whole life I'll keep seeing that movie. There are people who see it, who have seen 100 times Sholay. But eventually they tire out. Mind loves variety. It does not love monotony. Same thing repeated, it will go to sleep. But you have to remain awake. So our experience of our daily life is we go from object to object, we go from time to time, we go from place to place in order to experience. We can't enjoy the same place all the time. Therefore, tours, holidays, we can't eat the food also same every day, morning bread, afternoon bread, evening bread. With what? Butter and jam. You will get tired. But one day pasta, one day dosa, one day idli, one day pizza, one day Chinese. Variety. Then we are on the top of the world. How do we say that? I like balance in life. I like balance in life. You are addicted to variety because you cannot handle the same thing again and again. Even that one simple thing like coffee, you will try at different shops till you find a good one. And when you get used to that good one, then you start looking for again, is there anything better than that one? You see? So we know, and it is our experience, that the objects keep changing, time keeps changing, the factors keep changing. Some things we like at one time, the same thing we don't like at another time. Sometimes we are enjoying the sleep, sometimes we don't enjoy sleep, sometimes we enjoy the dream, sometimes we don't enjoy the dream. Sometimes we enjoy the waking world, sometimes we don't. And when we don't, we go to the spiritual path, the other spiritual thing. See? But does one stop enjoying himself? Does one stop loving himself or herself as the self? Nobody. You are the constant within all the change. Everything is changing. The world is changing, the time is changing, the space is changing, the objects are changing, the beings are changing, the body is changing, the breath is changing, the emotions are changing, the concepts and ideas are changing, your convictions are changing, but you have ever remained the same. You have ever remained the same. You have never changed. Anything that you say, no, but I have changed, tell me where you have changed. Oh, I used to play with the toys, now I play with whatever, mobile. Play with mobile. So, your concept, your object of enjoyment was the toys. Now the object of enjoyment is the mobile. So, object has changed. Tell me another example. Oh, when I was young, we used to accept everyone as they are. We were so innocent, we were so unsuspecting, so simple. And now I am so complicated. Anyone comes in my life, I am only suspecting and judging and. No, here we are comparing the law. So you see that has changed there. You have not changed. Your conviction, your mind has changed. Your mind was simple. Your perception was very clear because there was no data in that mind. There was no past in that mind when you were young. And oh, you must have been rubbed the wrong way as you have grown up and you have collected the impressions and you experience the life through your impressions, through the glass of your impressions. If glass is dark, you will see a dark world. If your glass is red, you will see a red world. If the dark glass is white, you will see a white world. If the glass is clear, you will see a clear world. Or you will see the world as it is. So your mind has changed. You have not changed. You were seeing when you were young. You are still seeing. Have you changed? The seer is still the same. Seer is still the same. And this way, analyze yourself. That what is that which has not changed? What is that which has not changed? In the case of Vaishayika Sukham, objective enjoyment, one is constantly changing from one object of enjoyment to another. One is always looking out for new types of enjoyment. Atma, on the other hand, can neither be rejected nor gained because it is not possible to lose or gain oneself. Such being the case, how can there be any taratamya? How can there be any comparison? Increase or decrease in love for the self, it is not possible. Increase and decrease can be for something which comes and goes. How can increase and decrease be for something which is permanent? And therefore, this bliss, this ecstasy on the seat of meditation, one must not get caught up in that. Discard, just discard, not yuck, then you are creating a reaction. Accept everything, reject nothing, retain nothing. That should be our rule. It has happened, okay, let it be. It's the mind which is experiencing. You remain undisturbed. You remain the witness. Therefore, it follows that the love for objects and the love for Atma cannot be compared at all. So, what was the original question of the student? That oh dear sir, just like I love the various objects of the world and gain happiness out of them, is that how I will gain happiness from the self also? This was the question. And for that, this whole thing was explained. But then is it not possible for one to be totally withdrawn from the worldly objects and adopt indifference, upeksha bhav or udasin bhav towards them? The indifference, udasinata, is now explained with reference to the similarity of love for the Atman. हानादानविहीनेऽस्मिन् हानादानविहीनेऽस्मिन् उपेक्षा चेतृणादिवत् उपेक्षा चेतृणादिवत् उपेक्षितु स्वरूपत्वात् उपेक्षितु स्वरूपत्वात् नोपेक्ष्यत्वं निजात्मनः नोपेक्ष्यत्वं निजात्मनः. If it is imagined that this self which neither can be given up nor can be accepted can be an object of indifference like grass, etc., to such an imagination the reply is no. How can you be indifferent to the self? You can be indifferent to the objects of the world. Right now you are thinking, every one of you is thinking something in their mind, or someone is reading, or someone is contemplating. There are so many objects here in the room. You are udasin toward, you are indifferent to them. Absolutely. The even the carpet which is under your feet, you are indifferent to it. You are not even aware of what texture it is. Now I am saying, so your attention will go. But for so long, your attention did not go to even the texture, why the cushions are lying there. What could be there in that yellow box? It was not there last time. Now it has come. Has that thought gone to your head? No. So can we just, so indifference can be practiced or comes about towards the objects of the world. Can we become indifferent towards the self? Can we become indifferent towards the self?
No. The objects.
Huh? Only towards the objects. No, but if we are attached to the world, we are attached to the relatives, we are attached to the things in the world, experiences in the world, then are we indifferent to the self? It's okay. Are we indifferent to the self? If we are attached to the world, are we indifferent to the self? If we love the world, have we become indifferent to the self?
No, Swami.
Say something more.
Yes, two different things, isn't it, Swami? One is outside, the other one is inside. The self, I cannot be different to the self.
I cannot be different to the self,
Yes.
correct? Therefore, can I be indifferent to the self? Can I become indifferent to I?
No.
It is not possible. It is not possible. But this imagination is there. Where is this imagination? In the mind.
Yeah.
In the mind. But who is supporting that thought also? The self alone. The self alone is supporting that thought in the mind. Without the self, can that thought appear? So self can never be indifferent to itself. Even if Atman can neither be rejected nor gained, as said in the previous shloka, suppose one is totally indifferent to it, as one would be about the grass, the teacher replies and negates this also. He says, the one who wants to be unconcerned about the Atma, since Atma is his very essential nature, how can he become indifferent towards it? It is not possible. That's the conclusion we also came to. It will be as unreal as the fire being indifferent to its heat or the sugar to its sweetness. Can sugar be indifferent to sweetness? No. Can water be indifferent to wetness? No. Can the metal be indifferent to hardness? No. Can the sun be indifferent to heat and light? No, it is its nature. So it is not possible. One cannot be indifferent towards Atma. Therefore, Atma can neither be rejected nor gained, nor can one be indifferent about it. So again another concept has been taken out of your head. Of what is that? What is the concept that has been taken out of your head?
Atma stays with you.
Not stays with you.
Stays as Atma is there.
With you as you.
You as that.
With you as you.
With you as you.
First thing, objects can be rejected.
Or
The
accepted.
Atma, the self, the spirit cannot be rejected. You can become indifferent to the objects of the world. You cannot become indifferent to your own self. Why? Because you are the essence. How can you be indifferent to yourself? Third, you can gain the objects of the world.
Reject.
You cannot gain the Atma.
Or reject.
Reject I did first.
Okay. Yeah.
Then I did indifferent.
Yeah.
Now gain. You can gain the objects of the world, but you cannot gain the Atma. Gaining the objects of the world is realization of that object. If I take that laddu and put it in my mind, I realize the laddu. Can I realize the self like that? So even a point must come where I must reject the thought, the idea of realization also. In deep meditation, one must be clear about this, that there is nothing called realization. What you are intending, what you begin as a seeker, wanting to realize, having self-realization, having enlightenment, wanting nirvana, that is your essential nature. You are already that. It is not something to be gained. Then what has happened in that process? What was coming in between you and yourself? The mind. That mind has been brought to a still. And what does stilling of the mind mean? Stilling of the mind does not mean that mind must become free or empty of thoughts. That misconception also needs to be removed. Stilling of the mind means you become indifferent to the thoughts in the mind. Meaning what? We are using this language. But are you trying to become indifferent to the various objects of this room? Are you trying to become indifferent?
No.
It is happening naturally. You are only focused on something and the outcome is that that you are indifferent to. So we are making that language up. So when you abide in yourself, automatically you are indifferent to everything other than the self. And if you remain in that position for a extended period of time, after some time you will realize that it happens from within, and that is, there is nothing to be indifferent about. Everything is the self. Mind is also the self, the thoughts are also the self, the anger is also nothing is other than the self. Such a person is we
call it
a realized master. But the journey must be very clear. Otherwise, we will get distracted on the way. Important, a very simple rule is, don't allow any concept to form in the mind. Understand, if any concept is getting formed, it is only in the, if at all it is getting formed, it is only in the mind. And how do I know the concept has been formed? Because I am other than the mind. So if I am thinking about the self, I am only conceptualizing the self. Right now, but see, the beauty of this language, the way they have explained, and the Upanishads is that while you are thinking, while you are talking, you are transported. You just fall back into yourself even while talking, even while listening. You don't have to do anything specifically to be, because we always are. We always are. There has never been a time that we have been not. Nobody has experienced their absence. And if you say, oh, but I was absent when I was sleeping, no, the waker was absent. Come to your correct understanding who you are. Are you the waker? Are you the dreamer? Are you the deep sleeper? Or are you the one who knows that these three come and go every day? Determine who you are really. So once we are not fighting with anything. It all comes to. I don't want to use the word fighting. We are not rejecting anything. We accept everything. We reject nothing, but we retain nothing, because retention precipitates in thoughts as memories, and those memories become future desires. And that is why it is told Atma is not a memory, Atma is not a thought.
Yeah, when you're saying this, Swamiji, that I was thinking, you said something like, even when we contemplate, even when we talk about the self, we automatically fall in there, right? Isn't it?
Even while talking,
Yes. So
I know the mouth is
yeah,
speaking, I
yes,
know the mind is thinking,
yeah.
and I'm just there.
But in
And
that
I don't,
process,
even while I'm saying that I'm there, I know the mind is saying that.
yeah, but in that process, the comparison is, Swamiji. The other one, if we are talking about milk, I have the memory of milk because that I had the memory of it, isn't it? So we are talking about the milk and we imagine milk because that I've seen milk before. But this one, we are talking about the self, even though that we haven't seen it, we still fall in.
Because we have created a concept.
Yes,
We
yeah.
are convinced that milk is, this is what is
so
milk.
the difference is the
That
one
like
is
one
memory.
girl is there, someone sent me an SMS from India, WhatsApp. One young girl, 11 years old, 4 layers of cloth around her eyes, and she's walking around, it doesn't matter. She's seeing everything. They give her complex jigsaw puzzle and they say this color, this color. She says no problem. Now you take that green one, that particular shape, and she's got all the cloth on. How can you do it? My teacher told me and I accepted it. So it's happening. So the interviewer saying, so how do you feel? He says, how do you see? He says, I see with my eyes. She says, I also see with my eyes. What do you see? She says, what do you see? She says, I see all the colors and everything. She says, I also see all the colors and everything. Even though her eyes are closed. So it's a siddhi. Yeah, she's gone beyond the conviction that vision is possible only through open eyes. See? So we are products of our convictions. We are products of our convictions. Conviction is a precipitated thought. Don't allow any precipitation. And what Vedanta is doing is cancelling. If they tell something, they cancel the next chapter. And continuously, even now, when they are saying, I cannot be thought, I cannot be rejected, I cannot be, you cannot be indifferent to it, I cannot be known, then why am I coming to the classes if it cannot be known? For hearing this.
And forgetting, and then you have to forget that.
It will click sometime. The more why do we keep taking the text or keep contemplating like this? It's so that our mind gets washed. Why do you keep putting the same clothes again and again in the washing machine? Because it's dirty. I use it for one day, it is dirty, I have to put it in the washing machine so that I can use it again. If I stay in self-contemplation and totally at peace with myself, no problem. Then you don't have to come to class, you don't have to study, you don't have to meditate. That is Sahaja Samadhi. But we go get involved in the world, collect unwanted garbage, precipitate it in our mind as memories. Now, we need some sort of washing machine treatment. That washing machine treatment is doing your sadhana, sitting in meditation, doing your japa, doing your puja, chanting the name of the Lord, coming to satsang, different ways. And automatically what is right for you, you will know. If your attention is not on the way, your attention is on the goal, on the truth, then the right way will appear to you. Nobody can tell you what your right way is. Yes, great masters do tell, but first they prompt their student to find his or her own way. And they only tell when that person surrenders completely. So, Swamiji. And yet there are people who come across as if they are completely surrendered. You read the various biographies and they give them a path to follow, a sadhana to do, and after some days they stop doing it. Oh, this is too difficult. Oh, that is so much. Nothing is happening, nothing is happening. I think he's not my guru, someone else is there. You don't have the acumen. You will keep running from pillar to post.
So they have to go early.
Carry on. See? So in this manner, the teacher's reply negates this also. He says the one who wants to be unconcerned about Atma, since Atma is his very essential nature, how can he become unconcerned or indifferent towards that which he essentially is? It is not possible. It will be as unreal as the fire, and those examples. How can fire become indifferent to heat and light? How can gold become indifferent to, or the metal become indifferent to hardness? The water become indifferent to the wetness? How can rose become indifferent to the fragrance that is coming out of it? How can the sugar become indifferent to sweetness? And so on. We cannot become indifferent to our own essential nature. Now determine what your essential nature is. Look at yourself in the light of what we have just studied. Thinking is also an object. Thinking is subject, object and instrument of knowledge. So as much as this is an object, the thought is also an object. And in this way come to the essential nature in spite of the thoughts coming and going. We'll see what happens in our next class. And from the verse 28 onwards we will see. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.